Hey everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Tuesday edition of Today in Sports Betting. It's good to have you along. Thanks very much for joining us on this trip. Speaking of joining us on this trip, as always, I am joined by my co-hostess with the mostest all the way from Long Island, New York. It is the one, the only, Scott Reichel. Scott, happy Tuesday, buddy. How are you?
Doing pretty well. Can't really complain. Looking forward to breaking down some golf on this show. For our first, it's either our first or our second full golf show. I'm pretty sure we did the match with Mickelson and golf and Tiger for one episode. So it might be our second. But yeah, looking forward to it. It should be a pretty big tournament. I know the Heritage usually has a mediocre amount of quality players in the field, and this year is anything but, as you have a ton of top players who are going to be making the trip to play here, mostly because there are no other alternatives. So people are just trying to get as many reps as they can, especially with golf tournaments officially back in full swing after a very entertaining golf tournament last weekend. So yeah, looking forward to some entertaining golf with some high-profile players.
Excellent. Headed to Hilton Head, South Carolina this week for the RBC Heritage. By the way, I just love to do golf shows with you because I get to hear you say the word, I can't even say it, tournament. It's the East Coast thing. It's very intriguing and enjoyable.
I'm not sure what you expected me to say that wasn't tournament, but sure. Glad I could help.
It's just the pronunciation of the word tournament.
Okay, fair enough.
It's to our flat Midwestern accent. It's funny to our ears. So I take my little pleasures where I can, my friend. And we've got one of the best golf guys in the business. He is I don't know what we call him, our head golf writer over there at Winners and Winers, but he has an eye for the round ball, and we're going to talk a little heritage with him here this week. He's the Dominator. It is David Hesse. Dave, how are you today, my friend? All the way from Maine, and how is things up there for the Mainers?
Oh, a little too warm for my taste still.
Although you're kind of run hot, don't you, Dave? I mean, any day over about 72 is really puts you out of your comfort zone, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So just to let us know, how warm is it up there in Maine today?
It's in the mid 70s today.
Mid 70s. There you go, folks. So, that's fantastic. That is. What's perfect weather? About 50 for you?
Pretty much, yeah. 30 at night, 50 in the day. I'm happy.
Now, do you? And I know we're going to get off on a tangent here real quick, but Dave, when it is like say 45 or so, do you adjust accordingly? Like, will you go out in shirt sleeves, like just a polo shirt, short sleeves?
Not shirt sleeves, but I will go out in shorts. My upper body gets a little bit colder than my lower body. My legs can take up to about 20 degrees. So
there you go. You are one of those people that I make unmerciful fun of whenever I see them in public, who wearing a sweatshirt or a hoodie and a sweater and shorts. Fantastic. That's great. All right, guys. So let's take a look at this tournament. We had the tournament last week. It was the first one as the played down there in Texas, the Charles Schwab Challenge. Interesting tournament. A lot of big names missed the cut, and they had a little playoff, had a little excitement, had some missed putts that kind of decided the whole tournament. So. A surprise winner there, Berger outlasted Morikawa in the playoff, and now we've got a tournament that was won last year by a 125-1 shot, and that should be fun to see if it can. First of all, Scott, can CT Pan repeat? And if he can, it's going to be a good payday because the odds are even longer this year on CT Pan than they were last year. He was 125 last year. He's 150 this year. You ready to jump on the Pan wagon? Oh my God, really?
That's not a bad nickname though for that situation. I'm not. It is worth mentioning the year before Pan won, I believe the winner was also 100+1. So this has been a long shot tournament.
Satoshi Kodria. I don't know his last name, but he was 250-1.
Yeah, so as Dave just chimed in, both the last two winners have been 100+1 or even 250-1. So you have seen some long shots win in the past. However, as I mentioned before, this tournament's field is definitely not as deep as it should be this year because of the fact that a lot of people who played last week, who are top players, are coming back to play this week as they're just trying to get as many reps as possible to get back into the swing of things, which I think is a smart move, but definitely means that some of the information you might have about some players that I've done in the past might not carry over as well because the level of competition should be higher than normal. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple ways to look at golf in terms of winning. You can either take the favorites and hope that one of them does enough to creep through, or you can just go for the long shot value plays with guys in a tournament where the last two winners were 100+1. So I feel like there's a couple ways to attack this, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah, you think it's hard to pick a NASCAR event where you have 40 racers. It becomes even more of a challenge when you've got I don't know how many golfers suit up for a tournament.
About 130.
130. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, and realistically, I don't know how many of them have a shot to win, but 100 have a shot of actually breaking through and being 125-1 shot that takes care of business. This week we're going to hear all about the guys that have the advantage are going to be the guys who are the good ball strikers. Now, to me, a person who is a casual observer of golf and plays a little bit, ball striking would seem to be important all the time. But, hey, that's just me. So who is the Dave, who are some of the best ball strikers out there? Who do you like to keep it in play? You hit those greens and regulations, keep it on the fairway, et cetera.
Col America Morikawa, he's a solid ball striker. He came up a little short last week. He's fifth in the world in driving accuracy. He's also 27th in greens and regulation. He is he's also second in approach to the green. So that gives him a big advantage by being very accurate. Sungjae Im, he's another one that I'll talk about a little bit more later on too. He's 65th in driving accuracy, 30th in approach to green, and he's also 6th in birdie average. And putting is also big in this course because these greens are really small, and they're hard to hit, but the Bermuda greens aren't always easiest to putt on. So I think those are a couple that I'll be looking at this week. The big thing with Morikawa is, can he bounce back from a tough loss last week? So
well, I think one of the main things for Morikawa is if he can putt. That's one thing that I kind of noticed when I had him on the money line at +405 on Sunday before hedging. Morikawa definitely is a phenomenal guy when it comes to approaching and hitting the greens, but his short game completely disintegrated on Sunday, and he missed a couple of putts, I'd say, within 4 feet that could have potentially given him a win over there. I mean, everyone's going to talk about the missed par putt in the playoff, which was that's upsetting. It was pretty close, but he also missed that putt on 18 that would have put him to 16 under. Seemed like Morikawa, who's very solid when it comes to, I'd say, the irons and the woods and the drivers, not exactly as sure-handed with the putter as you pretty much hoped that somebody would be if you're going to be laying a large outright price. However, I do agree that he's a consistent player, but Dave, does that concern you at all that his putter has been a little bit inconsistent?
Yeah, it's interesting to note. I mean, he's 163rd in the world in putting, but he's 33rd in the world in birdie average. So you
mentioned how difficult the Bermuda is to putt on. That's why I'm asking. I feel like
that is a concern with him. I'm not picking him to win it. I'll let you know that right now. But he is someone to watch because he is a good ball striker, and he will get to the green on time. But if he misses those little putts, especially after missing such an easy one that he did last week in the playoff, that could creep into his mind, and that could be a psychological thing for this tournament. So
it'll be interesting to see because it's a typical Pete Dye course like we talked about with the Bermuda grounds, the small greens where the accuracy is key. I'm like you, Scott. I'm curious to see if Morikawa can overcome his putting challenges. You got to wonder how much of that was just the pressure of the situation. Although, with his putting stats, he's obviously not a great putter under the best of circumstances, but somebody that is able to, get the ball up and down when he needs to. Scott, I know that, and Dave also, and by the way, Morikawa is 25-1. Dave also liked another 25-1 there in Sungjae Im, a guy that does have a fantastic putter. What do you think of his shot?
Overall, I like him a lot. I think Im is a very underrated golfer. I think that this course is definitely a solid fit with his skill set, especially from the putting aspect. I mean, the one thing that we keep talking about for this course, but it's important to just mention broadly, this is one of those courses where accuracy is better than strength. And it seems like just because somebody can John Daly a tee shot and launch the thing doesn't exactly lead to success, historically speaking, on this course. It seems to be more of an accuracy thing. The greens are relatively small. You have to try to just, keep it in play, try to make the most of your scrambling situations. So don't just immediately go, well, this guy's going to gain an extra 10 yards off the tee and just assume this guy's going to win. It's mostly going to be about accuracy. And it seems like whoever's going to do the best job of, I'd say, with their approach shots and just the greens and regulation, not just, the driving length, so to speak, should do pretty well this weekend. So based on that, I think Im is a very consistent player. I think that he definitely has the skills to go on a serious run here. And if you looked at him, what he did last week, he really flew under the radar. He had a very solid performance last week, and nobody really talked about him. So I think Im can definitely be poised for a top 10 finish here. And I think that he's definitely got a shot at 25-1 to, I'd say, finish the tournament probably around 10 under, give or take, which should put him in a decent spot to potentially get the victory. You have any thoughts on him?
No, I think his game matches up well, and that actually was going to lead me into a question that I really had for both of you guys. Do the foreign players, the Europeans, and even to a greater extent the Asian players, do they maybe have a small advantage here because the shorter course with an emphasis on accuracy tends to play more like a course from the Asian tour or from the European tour as opposed to the the big grip and rip it courses that we have here that have been quote unquote tiger proofed here in the United States. So does that play well into the international golfers game? What do you think, Dave?
I think it does. I mean, this course, this is a course that definitely needs a touch. And if I mean, some of those European courses are bombs away, but some are also designed around touch. I know St. Andrews is bombs away. I always loved playing that one on Tiger Woods Golf. I mean, because you just let it rip. Big open fairways. You're not gonna be able to do that here, though. I mean, they did widen the fairways a little bit. I read, but it's still, the trees still pose a big problem. You have to be very accurate in this course. And I do like Sungjae Im in this one. He was Rookie of the Year last year. He's had 3 top 10 finishes in a row, and like you said, he is flying under the radar a bit. But he's also first in FedEx points for the year. So I think I'm giving it away early, but I'm going. I wanted to go with Schauffele this year in this one again, but I'm just not sure his mental game is there right now. But I'm liking Sungjae Im.
Okay. All right.
Well, one thing to mention is that even though Im is number 1 in FedEx points with the long layoff, I don't think anybody really has kept track of the FedEx points. So I do agree that according to statistics and according to the actual leaderboards, you definitely shouldn't be flying under the radar. But when you're in the middle of a tournament or you're in the middle of a standings thing, like NASCAR, for example, you're looking at the statistics for the chase and who's in first, who's in second. Then you have about 5 or 6, 3-5 months off. I feel like all of a sudden people forget about the leaderboard, if you know what I mean. So I still think Im is a very underrated golfer at this point in his career.
Yeah, definitely flying under the radar screen. I've got a long shot that I'm going to kick off here. I'm anxious to get your guys' opinion. It's a kid that went to kid probably older than you, Scott. Sorry. So it's a guy that went to the University of Georgia, and he's used to playing those tournaments in the South on the Bermuda grass, and his game would seem to match up very well. And that's Harris English. And I've got him. He's actually opened a little higher, and he's down to 80-1. I think that his game matches up well here. He's got 5 top 10 finishes since last September. It's a guy whose game is really rounding into shape and matches up pretty well with this tournament. So, I'm going to maybe jump the gun here a little bit, but I'm going to throw out a long shot. Scott, any thoughts on Harris English?
Well, I think you mentioned the fact that has had some success playing on these type of courses in the past, which definitely make him an attractive option. You also mentioned how his odds have already started dropping a little bit, so it seems like you're not alone when it comes to your assessment on him. I definitely think that makes a lot of sense. The only question is, do you think he can keep up a certain pace for 4 rounds? And I'm a little bit skeptical of that. Having said that, you could probably hedge out of it at some point if everything's works out early on. I think you could potentially look for, maybe if you wanted to gamble a little bit more, maybe to take him being the leader after the second round or the first round or something if you really wanted to go nuts. But I'm really a little bit skeptical, especially with the deeper quality of players in this year's tournament field as opposed to normal. I wouldn't be surprised to see him fade kind of like a Varner did on last Sunday. So I think that might be.
That's always the danger with somebody like that. It would be tempting to take a one and done or something like that, and that's something I might take a look at as well. Dave, any thoughts on my first opening salvo there as my long shot Harris English?
Not sure. I didn't really study Harris English. I didn't look down. Well, I did look down that far, but I looked a little bit further.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I might have one here for you in a little while that be a little further down on the list. But Scotty, who do you like? Dave's given us a couple there. Who do you have at the top of your leaderboard at the end of 4 rounds here on Sunday?
Well, the truth is that in a tournament where an 100-to-1 shot or greater has won each of the last 2 years, I decided to go digging, and I'm only going to be playing 2 long shots here. I feel like if you want to take one of the favorites, which you can, I just don't think there's really much value available. Now, I know you're going to say, well, how can you say that everybody here is basically 15-to-1 or more? And the answer is, in the situation of golf, where accuracy is going to be playing a huge factor over the weekend and power won't really do much, I think it's really just going to depend on which golfer can get hot when it comes to their accuracy and their putting. And I feel like that kind of makes this potentially, as you said before, an 80-person race. I feel like it really just depends on who's going to get hot and who is familiar with the course. I think experience is going to play a huge factor when it comes to this course because of the fact that it really comes down to being as accurate as possible and knowing just exactly how to attack these fairways and these greens. So for that reason, I think that one person who I have here at 66-to-1, I'm looking at Branden Grace, and I think that he is definitely an attractive option for this price. He's roughly 50-to-1 on other sites, but DraftKings at 66-to-1. And it is worth mentioning that he has won this tournament before, so he has had some success in the past. And he also came in 19th last week. He struggled a bit on Sunday, but he looked really solid for about 3 rounds. And I think that he should be able to put together a nice performance here on a course he's had a lot of success in the past. 66-to-1, I think Branden Grace is definitely an option. I will definitely be taking him at that price for probably a 1/10 of a unit. So I'm going to lean to Branden Grace as my first choice.
Okay, very nice. Dave, who else you got on your list?
Well, let's see. And it's a shame we won't have fans there to hear them say "coo, coo, coo." Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar looks like a nice play. He's 13th in the world in driving accuracy. All top 80 in approach to green, around the green. He's 14th in putting. And he's finished, or last year he finished second, and he won it back in 2014. So he has had some success on this course.
Probably had some success though. Some sex.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Matt Kuchar would be a nice play to have on your card. And if you want a real big long shot, how about plus 17,500? Luke Donald. Luke Donald has finished second place at this tournament in 5 different occasions. I know he's not having such a great year, but he's 13th in approach to green, 18th around the green. He's 53rd in putting. The one thing that does, worry me is he's only 100 46th in driving accuracy. But, he's another one, at plus 17,500. You got to take a shot with him considering the success he's had in this course over the years.
Yeah, I would go along with that. I really like the Cooch pick as well. My biggest worry would be if Kuchar and Luke Donald played in the final group, and then you don't know who they're rooting for. But yeah, I think that's an attractive price on Luke Donald there at 175 to 1 basically, and I like the you're getting a good number there on Kuchar as well at 33 to 1. He finished second last year to Pan. So Scott, you like the Cooch or do you like the Luke? Either one of those guys get you going?
Well, I'm pretty sure I saw Kuchar at 42 to 1 on FanDuel, so you could actually get a better number there. Nice. I was actually looking into Kuchar, and I actually am going to be mentioning him on my props. I think the main issue that I have with taking him to win this tournament is because of the fact that the field is usually a lot weaker than it normally is. I'm a little bit concerned on how well he will be able to stack up with some of the elite level talent. He probably should do well, though, considering the fact that this is pretty much his backyard. And I'll give it away right now. One of my props that I have is Matt Kuchar to finish top 30, which is plus 105 on FanDuel. He's finished top 30 every year at this tournament since 2014. So with that type of track record, you're getting plus money top 30. So I'm going to be taking that on the Cooch. But in terms of winning, it's the thing about golf. You have 80 people in a race, and you're going to have to get lucky and pick one. And I think Kuchar is definitely an attractive option there at roughly 42 to 1, give or take. So I like Kuchar here. I think he'll do well. Am I going to take him to win? No, but I will be taking him to finish top 30 at plus 105.
Okay.
Hey, Scott, is there a prop there for Col America to make the cut?
There was on DraftKings. I'm pretty sure you had to lay a pretty decent amount of juice, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say because the one good stat he
makes a lot of
played in 20. Well, he's played in 21 tournaments.
He's never missed,
career, and he's made the cut in all 21.
Yeah, he's never missed.
So he's only 4 away from Tiger Woods' 25 in a row to start his career.
Yeah, Morikawa is roughly minus 500 to make the cut. So, yeah. I definitely know where you're coming from, and that's why I thought Morikawa was a sleeper last week. But the jury might be out on him, to be honest.
Okay, I'm gonna go with I've got a prop here, and man, I'm tempted to take him. I'm tempted to take him for the tournament because it is a nice price. It is a it's the grizzled veteran. It's basically the guy who has done it on this course and is the leading all-time money winner on this course, and that's Jim Furyk. And yes, he just turned 50 a couple of weeks ago, and certainly has lost a step. But this is a course where the big hitters are not necessarily rewarded. It's more about patience and accuracy. He's won this tournament twice, and you can get him top 10 at plus 1,200. And I'm trying to I was trying to find top 20, and I can't find. You got a price on Furyk for top 20 by any chance, Scott?
Yes. Just sorry, just a second. Let me just find it. So Furyk.
Mm-hmm.
I see plus 500 for top 20.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. I think that's a solid play. I'll probably give a little bit of a sniff there, and to be honest with you, I'll probably end up taking a little shot on Furyk, and I'm trying to find. I've got him at 125. I've got him at 125 to 1. Anybody have a better price than that?
I see 150.
Okay, yeah, I think that's worth a sniff there to play the feel good story of the day. Grizzled veteran coming up the 18th with tears in his eyes. Yeah, I like Furyk there to take a little shot and see if we can recapture some of the Jim Furyk magic. Even though he's been spending time leading the Davis Cup team and the Ryder Cup. That would be quite a thing if he was leading the Davis Cup team, leading the Ryder Cup team over there. But I think Maybe one last hurrah for Furyk. Anybody on the Furyk wagon, Dave?
I was looking at him too. I know that he's had success at this course, but I just I don't know. I don't see him having a great tour. He'll probably make the cut, but I don't know if how far up the leaderboard will go.
I mean, I'm a fan of another long shot also. So anytime you can get somebody who's had that much success on a certain course at 150 to 1, I don't even know if current form matters as much as it would in some other situations.
Right.
Because you feel like he just has such an experience level when it comes to reading these greens and reading the exactly what he's supposed to do in certain situations. So he pretty much should make the logical play almost every time because of experience, which should potentially give him a stroke or two of advantage because he has that much experience. So, yeah, I definitely think that makes sense. Am I going to be taking it? No. But I definitely understand where your head's at when it comes to taking a guy who has had a tremendous amount of success here in the past.
All right. Very good. Who's up? Where are we at here?
Well, so I already mentioned Branden Grace as one of my long shots here at 66 to 1. I'm going to take an even bigger long shot here, bigger than anything that anybody's mentioned so far. He's a relative unknown. He's a new youngster, but he has been very successful so far in his young career. It's going to be Maverick Mcneely, and he's available at 200 to 1 on DraftKings, really digging to the bottom of the barrel here. Simply put, I just think that 200 to 1 is too large of a price. I think he should be somewhere in the realm of, I'd say, 125 to 1, 150. So I'm going to take the value there. He's 3 top 20 finishes in his last 5 starts, and the main flaw that he has in his game is his driving. But as we talked about before, this course kind of mitigates that as it's more of just about scrambling and trying to accuracy over power, so to speak. So I think this course should be a pretty solid fit for his game. I just was mentioning that McNeely has made 11 cuts in his last 12 tournaments. So he has been pretty efficient when it comes to making it to day 3 and 4. And his driving's been the main issue and the reason why he hasn't been able to make the next step as a 24-year-old. But his iron game's pretty solid and his putting game's pretty good. So if he gets hot, I think 200 to 1 is definitely an attractive price. That seems a little bit too high.
Well, in fact, I've got him at 125 on Bet Online, so you're definitely getting a lot of value there. Dave, did you make it down to the bottom of the stack there and check out Maverick Mcneely at all?
No, I haven't.
I got to tell you, Scott, I've seen his name, on the leaderboards after the tournament's been over, and I've been scanning for results. I don't know a lot about Maverick Mcneely other than the fact he is my new favorite name in all of golf. That's just a fantastic. If that's, Maverick McNeely should be preceded by the phrase "coming out of chute number 4."
Mm-hmm.
That's a fantastic name. Do you know anything about his background? Where's he from or anything?
I know that he's a pretty big youngster at 24. I know that his driving has been kind of an issue in terms of streakiness. So that's why he hasn't exactly been as well known as a household name. But 3 top 20 finishes in his last 5 starts, and he's 200 to 1. I know he's never played here, and you have to wonder how big of a factor that's going to play. And I think it's definitely not going to help. But, I mean, he's had a lot of success lately, and 200 to 1 I just think is too attractive, especially at a course where you have seen long shots come in for the last 2 years. So for that reason, do I really think Grace or McNeely are going to win? No, because I think it's almost impossible to pick the winner of a golf tournament. But at the end of the day, if you just need your guy to be in the hunt on Sunday, and that's really all you can ask for. So I think if you're going to be trying to look for a huge long shot to put $10 on to win $2,000, I think McNeely's probably your guy because I think that he has the ability to, one, make the cut, which I told you he has done in 11 of his last 12, and he also has the short game and the potential putting to finish potentially in the top 10. So I think that 200 to 1 is definitely an attractive play for value, and that's where I'm going to be going.
Okay, very good, very, very good. It's hard. Who could argue with Maverick McNeely, man? That's just fantastic. I was scrolling real quick here to see if we have a prop on him to make the cut, and
I actually already. I was going to get into that for props. That's one of my plays. Spoiler alert. For props, I got McNeely to make the cut at -120 on DraftKings. Simply put, even if he hasn't played here, if you make the cut 11 of your last 12 tournaments, you should be a lot higher than -120.
Yeah,
So,
I would go along with that. I think that's I think getting 5 to 6 on something that's happened 11 of the last 12 times is pretty good value.
I mean, we were talking about that with David Morikawa and how he wanted Morikawa to make the cut because he's never missed the cut in 21 tournaments, and that's minus 500. But I understand the sample size is huge. At the same point, though, if you're pretty much a king of making cuts, minus 120 seems like a gift to me. So for value alone, that line probably should be closer to minus 150, give or take. So I'll take the minus 120.
All right, and on Bet Online, I've got Morikawa, by the way, to make the cut at minus 325. So a little more value there at Bet Online if you're out there shopping your lines and you have the ability to pick up those different prices. So definitely do that. All right, Dave, what else you got keyed up for us here?
I do it a little bit differently with the props than you guys do. I do the matchups over, who's going to make the cut or whatever. But I got Rory McIlroy minus 135 over Bryson DeChambeau. DeChambeau is actually, for the tournament, he wouldn't be a bad pick. He's got 5 top 10s in 8 events played. He's got great numbers all around as far as, he's 10th in sand save percentage, 15th in birdie average.
He came in second a couple of years ago, I believe.
Yeah. He's also, 32nd in greens in regulation. Here's the difference, I think, with him is his driving distance. He leads the world in driving distance at 323.8 yards. But he's also 121st in driving accuracy. And in this course, it's not about the big hitter. Rory coming off a disappointing, that was a disappointing showing for Rory last week. I think he shot a 75 in the final round.
Yeah, his Sunday was terrible.
So he's got to be disappointed. He was the favorite last week. He's the favorite again this week. So even after that disappointing showing, he's still the favorite to win it all. So, I like him at minus 135 over Bryson. And another, I don't have any analysis on this one, but I like Tony Finau minus 140 over Branden Grace. And I like Matt Kuchar minus 124 over Daniel Berger. We've already talked about Kuchar. Berger, he was rookie of the year back in 2015, I think it was. And he then had he won a tournament a few years ago. 3 years ago was the last time he won a tournament up until last week. And he had, shoulder or a wrist surgery that put him out of action for pretty much, between 2 seasons, 1 full season, he was put out of action. But he came back. So, coming off the big win, I think that, this is a bit of a letdown for him. He's been trying, he's been playing well, and he finally got the win that he hasn't had in the last 3 years. So, taking Kuchar over Berger at minus 124, I think was a good price. So those are my 3 props.
Well, I have one question I want to ask you, though. I mentioned Grace as an outright at 66-1 just for value alone. I'm curious. I do like Finau a lot as a golfer. Are there any particular reasons why you like Finau to beat Grace in that matchup?
I just like the price, I guess.
Fair enough. I mean, I know Finau is a phenomenal golfer. I was just curious. Yeah. Grace, I'm solely taking Grace because he's won this tournament, and he came in 19th last week, and he's 66-1. I was curious if you had any thoughts on why Finau is going to mop the floor with him. But, okay, fair enough.
Dave, Scott, do you have any thoughts on DeChambeau? Because he played well last week, just, kind of a late collapse there at the end. But I'm with Dave. I don't think his game matches up particularly well for this course. Are you buying or selling on Bryson DeChambeau this week?
The truth is I'm buying. I'm going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go against the both of you. I don't really know how I can sell his performance at this course when he literally came in second in this course in the past. So even though his accuracy might not be the greatest with the driver as opposed to his actual length or distance or whatever you want to call it, if you came in second here in the past, I got to assume that you're actually pretty good on this course. And I think DeChambeau, even though he missed a couple of – even DeChambeau admitted it in the post round interview that he had on CBS. He said if his putter was there at all at any point during the weekend, he would have won the shot. He would have won the tournament by like 4 shots. And I think he's 100% right. He definitely looked like the best golfer there off the tee. And even on the approach, it was just a matter of his putting let him down a little bit last week. Do I think he's going to win this tournament? No. But I'm not as low on him as the two of you are for the tournament. He was great. He looked great last week. His putter even looks a little bit better, which I'm hoping was mostly rust. He should look a lot sharper with the putter for all 4 rounds this week. And he's come in second here before. So I'm actually not as low on DeChambeau. I think he should probably finish somewhere in the top 20, top 10. So, yeah, I'm a little bit higher on DeChambeau this weekend than the two of you.
Okay. What else you got for a prop, Scott?
So I already mentioned 2 of them. I got Kuchar top 30 at plus 105 on FanDuel, and I got McNeely to make the cut at minus 120 on DraftKings. I got 3 other props. The first one is my only matchup prop here, which will be a little bit interesting because I'm going to be fading a guy who has been successful here in the past. I'm going to be taking Gary Woodland over Dustin Johnson at minus 120 on FanDuel. And Dustin Johnson has been really good here in the past. But the main reason why, I just think Johnson's in terrible form. If you've watched him play, he was in that charity foursome with McIlroy, Wolf, and Fowler. And Johnson looked like the worst player there. He was just awful for pretty much the last, I'd say, 12 holes. He just was pretty much terrible. And then he missed the cut last week. I just think he's in terrible form at this point in time. I would consider fading him just based on the fact that he has really looked lost lately. And Woodland, even though he hasn't had much experience on this course, he still looked really good last week. He's been a really solid player. And I think minus 120 is a pretty good deal when you're fading a struggling golfer. So for that reason, I'll take Gary Woodland for 1 unit at minus 120 on FanDuel.
Okay.
You have any thoughts on that?
No, I think that's absolutely right. And that's been one of the more surprising developments to me is how bad Johnson has looked here. And I don't see anything on the horizon with him digging out. I mean, obviously he's one of the best golfers in the world. It's going to happen at some point. But until I see some positive signs on his part, I think he's a great fade. And I think 6-5 is a quality number. Dave, what do you think? Is Johnson, is this going to be Johnson's comeback week, or is he going to continue to struggle?
No, I think he's going to continue to struggle. I mean, that's, part of the reason I didn't see much in Johnson last week. That's why I had Shockley beating him by 1.5 strokes. And he totally missed the cut. So, I think that's a good play.
Okay, very nice. Guys, and I'm kind of the voice of the sucker bet here a lot of times. Today's going to be no different. I'm going to put a little sniff on CT Pan to repeat. I'm intrigued by the fact that he won last year as a 125 to 1 shot, and the odds are longer this year at 150. Just for value alone, just because that offends my sensibilities. I'm going to take a small play on Pan to win, and as we get closer, I see what kind of price I can get on him to make the cut, and not exactly load up on him, but certainly rewarded for his strong performance last year. Go ahead, Scott, rip into me for my sucker bet.
Well, I can't because I found Pan on DraftKings at 600 to 1, so I can't.
At 600 to 1?
Yeah, I can't really criticize you for that one.
I need to move. That's what I just need to move. That's the whole thing.
I mean, it's 600 to 1. That's probably also worth a sprinkle. Just at any rate, even if he misses the cut, I feel like you can't even criticize that as being a bad bet because that's just insane to get a defending champion at 600 to 1.
I mean, I'm 800 to 1, so that's a good price.
Yeah, so I can't criticize that. I can't get roast you for taking a long shot who just won this tournament last year.
I know. Certainly not the pattern.
Yeah, but overall, it definitely is a great play at 600 to 1, especially on DraftKings, which that line definitely should be an anomaly because I'm not really sure how you can price that guy at 600 to 1, even though he literally won the tournament last year. I would have assumed somewhere in the same range, 150 to 1, 120 to 1 sounds about right, just based on success. Other than that, I have 2 more props to get into. So okay. I mentioned Woodland over Johnson at minus 120 on FanDuel. I mentioned Kuchar top 30 plus 105 on FanDuel. And I mentioned McNeely to make the cut at minus 120 on DraftKings. This one's a little bit chalky, but I'm going to take it because of success here in the past. I like Shane Lowry to make the cut at minus 159 on DraftKings. Decent amount of juice, but it is minus 174 on FanDuel. So you're actually saving roughly 15 cents of juice. A couple reasons why I like Lowry. I know that he struggled last week, but he finished third in this tournament last year, and he's made the cut in both appearances here. His skill set is just simply a good fit for this course, and minus 159, if you shop around, is the best line you can find, and I just think that Lowry's made the cut here twice and even finished third last year. It's a pretty good deal. I think you make the argument he probably should be somewhere in the realm of minus 190, minus 200 to make the cut based on his track record here. So for that reason, I'll take Lowry at minus 159 to make the cut.
Okay. That seems like a nice price. Dave, you have anything worked up, or was that your last prop, sir?
Well, I'm going to add one because I just heard Scott put a price on it because I didn't do,
right,
homework on, other props than the matchups. But I like Kuchar to finish in the top 30 at plus 105. This course really does set up well for him. I mean, he's 215th in the world in driving distance, but 13th in driving accuracy. That's a big number right there. He's a touch player, and yeah, you won't have the crowd there going cooch, but he's still going to have some. I think he's going to have some juice for this one, and he's also 14th in putting. Those are the driving accuracy and the putting are. Excuse me, two different, two solid numbers for this course. And, he's even, 79th in approach to the green. So, I think Kuchar finishing in the top 30 is almost a lock. He's had success in this course. It sets up well for him according to his statistics. And, I'm not sure he'll win it. He's one that I would take as a kind of a long shot to win it. But, I think Kuchar at finishing in the top 30 is pretty much a lock for this one.
Nothing like a golf lock. I gotta love that. Yes, and we talked a little bit about Kuchar earlier. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that play. I think he's going to have a big week. I like him to return to form. Scott, you're on the Kuch wagon. You're top 30. You like that price?
I'm the one to give up the play, so yeah, I kind of like the price. I
figured.
Yeah, but there's actually one other prop since we're talking about top 30s. This is my final prop of the tournament. So, yeah, a lot of action here. Hopefully it's going to work out. I'm not going to be taking a guy who hasn't had much success here in the past.
Oh, perfect.
But he hasn't been here in roughly 5 years, and I think that he's definitely made a ton of strides as a golfer since then. It's going to be Patti Reed, and I like him to be top 30 at minus 105 on FanDuel. He's struggled here in the past. He's failed to make the cut a couple times. He hasn't been here in about 5 years. And I think since then, you've seen
sounds like it's really all coming together for him.
Yeah, you've seen what he's done at the Ryder Cup. You've seen him win a couple of huge tournaments here. And last week, he really flew under the radar because he really wasn't that into it in terms of just being within the top 5 pretty much at any point. But he finished in the top 10, and if you saw him on Sunday, he was flying. So Reed has the ability to get extremely hot. He has the ability to scramble extremely well. He's had some issues here in the past, but as I said before, I think he's a more refined and a more talented golfer. I think some of his raw talent has definitely progressed over that time span. Top 30 minus 105, I love Reed as a golfer. I think he's a tremendous golfer, and I think he could potentially be a dark horse candidate to win this thing. But top 30 minus 105, definitely worth a shot for me. So that's going to be my last play.
All right.
On that?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Last night you brought up Patrick Reed, Scott, and I did some digging after that, and I didn't like the fact that he was 189th in driving accuracy.
Yeah.
Huh?
He's been terrible here. I'm aware of that. It's just a matter of.
But you also make up a good piece. He's 20th in sand save, 7th in scoring average, 5th in birdie average. But he. The 189th in driving accuracy and the 177th in greens and regulation kind of scared me away from him. So
yeah, I definitely understand that. I just
top 30
is
a I don't think he would win it, but top 30 could be a good play with him.
I feel like Reed has the ability to get hot, and I feel like if Reed gets hot, I don't think there's many golfers that can stand in his way, especially with Tiger not being in the field or anywhere near his
right.
Prop. So if Reed puts together potentially a 5-under day or even a 6-under day, which is definitely possible if you've seen his skill set, I could definitely see him making a run here. And you saw that last week. He had 2 separate days where he basically shot about 5 under plus. So I think that's definitely a possibility. But I understand your points. I just love Reed. I think Reed's a phenomenal golfer, and he looked really good last year. So I'm going to ride the
He also has, 5 top 10s in 9 events this year. So
playing well.
I mean, it's not a bad play. It's just I didn't think his stats held up to what you need on this course. But
they don't in terms of driving. But I feel like he'll do a decent job of maybe salvaging some inaccuracies with his driver because of his ability to make saves and to scramble. So I think that he should put together a good performance. But I definitely understand if somebody would get scared off because of his driving stats and his numbers here. But I don't know. I feel like he's poised for a good weekend. You have any thoughts on that, Scott?
No, he's made tremendous strides in the last 5 years. So the fact that he hasn't played this course since 2016 was the last time he played here.
A little bit longer than that, like 2015 or 14.
2015. Okay, so yeah, I think. Yeah, I don't hate that. I'm not in love with it, but I think that's I think there's certainly a chance as playing as well as he is right now, and I'm probably going to give more weight to the guy that's playing good golf at this time of year than historical trends at this course. And I like anybody that's getting hot at the right time, and he's certainly, like you said, Scott, he was flaming last week. When he gets hot, and he certainly has the capability of making a deep run. So
I think my main logic for that was I personally think at this stage in terms of just quality, Patti Reed's definitely top 10, arguably top 5 golfer right now, and you're getting him to finish top 30 at roughly even money at -105. I'm just going to take that for talent.
Yeah, you just need him to not melt down and to have a nice little hot streak there, and then maintain for the rest of the tournament. I think you'd be in good shape. Go ahead.
I was going to say he is 4th in FedEx points and 6th in overall world rankings. So top 30 is a pretty good play, I think.
Yeah, especially at that price, basically even money -105. I think that's a good deal.
Right.
I've got one more long shot here. I'm going to take another Southern boy down there. Used to playing on the Bermuda, and he's actually a South Carolina native. And that's Matthew Naismith. Take top 20 at -650. This is another guy who's got a lot of experience on this type of courses. His game matches up well. In fact, he ranks 37th in PGA in shots saved on approach. And I think this is a kid that is a solid golfer. Obviously, I don't think he's quite ready to make that breakthrough to take the win, but he has he's got 5 top 20 results in his last 12 starts. I think this guy is going to be overlooked by a lot of people. I like that's a good price. I've got him at 650 to make the top 20, and I think that's a good number on Matthew Naismith. Scott, any thoughts?
I can't really argue with all the stats that you just said. When you're saying Naismith, I'm actually trying to look for that name. Do you mean Fitzpatrick?
It's N-E. It's N-E Smith.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I was trying to spell that out and I couldn't find him. Yeah. I mean, for that, I can't really criticize getting a top 20 at like +600. So I feel like for value, you can take a stab there. Yeah, I can't say I really looked into him that much, so I don't really know much about him. But at the end of the day, you said he's from South Carolina, right?
Right.
So if you're going for a local angle there, I think that's definitely worth a shot if you're going for +600.
Right. And it's really just the number that attracted me because you don't often get long odds like that to make top 20. Usually the circumstances aren't quite as favorable. So that's going to be my final long shot. Anybody else have anything bubbling up? Anybody else have anything they want to talk about?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say I pretty much went through everything. I know I thought you might have just mentioned Matthew Fitzpatrick. I actually think he might have a decent weekend. But no, I think I pretty much covered everything. Dave,
well,
you got anything?
It sounds like we should just maybe take everybody named Matthew between Kuchar, Matthew Fitzpatrick, Matthew Naismith.
It's an option.
Maybe just the Mats.
Anyway, Dave, you got anybody?
Yeah, one more just to look at. And I would not be surprised if he finished in the top 10. I don't know if you have a prop on that. But Hideki Matsuyama. He hasn't had a win in a while, and he may be due. he is 125th in driving accuracy, but he's also 10th in greens in regulation. He's 9th in approach to the green, 7th around the green. I mean, he's going to get it on the green. He's not the greatest putter, but I don't know. I think what is it? It's 28-1. He's at plus 280 or 2,800.
I'm looking. I mostly see 33-1, but I'm trying to see if I can find a better price.
I was just looking to see if he had a top 10 on him, or
I've got him at plus 300 to make the top 10, Dave.
Oh, top 10. Sorry, I thought you were talking about.
There's a good prop then. I can see him having a decent showing. It's time for him. The only other thing that may scare me off a little bit would be the fact that he didn't play last week. And this is an extra long layoff, and he hasn't been traditionally good on extra long layoffs, but it's still he's one that can be around the leaderboard for much of the tournament. And I think once he gets playing after the first 2 rounds, if he's right in it, then he's going to explode the last 2 rounds. So
you said top 20, right?
Top 10 or top 20, I would go with top 10. Let's go with top 10. I think Hideki Matsuyama can finish in the top 10.
Okay, because I see plus 350 for that.
There you go.
Okay.
Of course. All right.
And that'll be my final play.
All right. Very good. Very good. Well, guys, I think we've acquitted ourselves well. We've certainly given the folks a lot of options, and this is it's always the golf tournaments. I don't know that there's anything harder to pick an outright winner than picking the winner of a golf tournament, like you said, and that's certainly reflected in the odds as the favorite, as in this one, and I've got Rory McIlroy as the favorite at 12-1. So it's there's certainly an amount of skill that goes into this, but there's certainly an amount of luck as well. So good luck to everybody. We like to. I think we've put out a lot of plays from each end of the spectrum, as we've taken some 600-1 shots, and we've taken some people that have fared here well in the past and should be able to do so.
And 175-1 shot with Luke Donald.
There you go. That's anytime, and he's actually won this tournament, hasn't he?
He's finished second place 5 different times.
Okay. All right,
but
so he's never
to win it.
Through. All right, very good. Scott, final thoughts?
Hopefully one of us win.
There you go.
We have about 5. What do we have? Like we just mentioned. I don't even know how many winners we mentioned here, but
I believe we mentioned a third of the field. So I'm pretty good about that.
Yeah. For this tournament, it seems like we're all on the same approach, though, of the idea for long shots here, just based on track record and the fact that since last week, it didn't really seem like there was much rust for the top tier guys. Rory struggled in day 4. But Justin Thomas looked great. Shambo looked great. Rory looked great for 3 days. Morikawa looked really good. Schauffele looked really good for, I'd say, 3.5 days. So, yeah, it didn't really seem like rust played that much of a factor. But once again, you have to wonder if this is one of those tournaments where it just takes one guy to get hot with his putter, and it's pretty much going to be a wrap because this course separates the divide between elite level driver, just in terms of distance as opposed to weaker drivers off the tee. So, hoping for an interesting golf tournament. I don't think it's going to be as crazy and hectic as last week because that was unheard of. But I'm definitely looking forward to an entertaining golf tournament, especially with nothing else on TV. So
I agree. Keep it in the short grass, boys. That's all I'm saying. Dave, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just like Scott said, last week was bombs away. It was just, driver. If you hit driver off of this course, that's like suicide, and you can't do that. So this is a total different course than what we saw last week. And it's going to take a lot of finesse, a lot of creativity. And, those are one of the things that are a couple of the things that really drive me to golf is, to watch it, is seeing how these players, they shape it and they have to adjust for the wind. I mean, I don't know. It just, golf to me is just fascinating to watch because of all the different little nuances that go into, coming up with, one shot over another. So, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Very good. Yeah, I agree. It is a lot of fun to watch the absolute best in the world go out there and master a game that frustrates so many of us daily guys. So yeah, it's fun to watch them and fun to see how they play against each other, how they creatively get around the course. I totally agree with that. All right, boys. Well, we've had a little bit of golf fun here today. Scott, congratulations to us. We've managed to make it an entire episode without mentioning the depressing state of baseball.
Well, you just did.
So
So
about that. So
you just did. So
I know. Does it really count? Then that's certainly up for debate. But yeah, it's.
I heard that golf's ratings were the highest they've been in a long time, at least for this past tournament. So it seems like a shocker. The fans who want something to watch have switched over to another sport to watch. Isn't that crazy? Who would have thought?
Man, if only there was a sport that could just be playing every day and dominating the ratings.
For 160 something games for about six straight months. If only that exists. Oh wait, they have money issues. So golf is going to be the biggest winner in this situation. You know how good the ratings are going to be for golf moving forward.
They're going to be good. They're going to be good. They're going to own Thursday and Friday. I'll tell you that much.
No, they should. So
I just got on Slack. Ben just posted something that said in July, apparently, or in August, apparently Governor Cuomo is allowing now the U.S. Open to be played there. So in tennis. So,
I saw that as well with no fans.
Well,
yeah.
I can guarantee you Nadal and Djokovic will definitely be hard pressed to show up. I can guarantee you that.
Well, that's not exactly their tournament anyway, right?
Djokovic
does okay there, but
they're two of the best players in the world, especially with Federer already announcing that he's going to have serious surgery. So Federer's out for the year. Nadal's already said before he doesn't feel confident restarting because they can't guarantee the safety of the players traveling. And Djokovic is well known to be an anti-vaccine guy, and he is probably not going to want to come overseas anyway. So, it's one thing to announce they're going to have a tournament. It's another thing to actually have the players come overseas. I understand why Cuomo wants to bring people back. There's no fans anyway, so it's not like you're going to be making any extra money. But we're also bringing the Belmont's coming back as well, so New York's trying to open up some sports. I'm going to go on record and say I think that bringing back the U.S. Open this year is a pretty dumb move. But I'm telling you, I don't think Nadal is going to show up. So that's my hot take for the U.S. Open coming up.
It's kind of like the NBA where there's certain players that just don't want to play right now because of everything that's going on in the world.
Correct, but I'm saying Nadal's been mentioning this for months. Before. He was saying they probably have to wait till 2021, maybe even longer to bring it back. And now they're just immediately diving back to the U.S. Open. I really don't think Nadal and Djokovic are going to show up.
I don't understand. Other than baseball, tennis is probably the most socially distant sport you could have.
Well, you also have the ball boys and stuff like that. But yes, but the main thing Djokovic has said publicly, I don't like vaccines. And Nadal basically said, if you're going to be playing in a tournament, you need to get a vaccine.
Oh, okay.
So I think that there might be some issues with individual players showing up. I know John Millman's also been against it, the Australian player. He thinks that going to New York right now is a ridiculous idea. I don't think he'll show up either. But the main two, and Nadal and Djokovic, especially with Federer being out due to injury, I really think you're going to look at a very underwhelming field for the U.S. Open this year.
Well, if you're from a country that has pretty much already beat this thing, as a lot of Europe has, Australia has done very well, New Zealand, of course, has done well. You're going to be pretty reluctant, I think, to come to the United States, where
especially in New York, which has had a decent amount of protests as well, and you have to wonder if numbers might spike in the next couple of weeks. I really think the cons outweigh the pros in the situation. But, Cuomo is the guy trying to bring, I'd say, life somewhat back to normal in New York with sports. Right. And he thinks the tennis tournament's a good option for that. And I think that's a very huge secondary concern. So we'll see how that works out. I'm just saying you can mark me down potentially for freezing cold takes or whatever. I don't think Nadal or Djokovic are going to show up for the U.S. Open.
Okay, good enough. All right, well, there you go. And I'm sorry I opened that can of worms. We were clean, we were out, and I had to get cocky there. So there's your last 5 minutes of depressing sports news for the day. Or if you don't like Djokovic or Nadal, maybe you're good news for sports. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the seasons play out here with the various sports involved. And the only thing I'm pretty sure of so far is we're going to have hockey. That's you talk about a freezing cold take. There's my take. That's the one I have the most confidence in of seeing actual games is going to be hockey.
It's a potentially freezing cold take that they're going to be playing hockey in Las Vegas.
Thank you. Good night. I'll be here all week, everybody. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Dave. As always, appreciate you filling in on relatively short notice. You are definitely the Swiss Army knife here at winnersandwiners.com, and appreciate you being here, buddy.
No problem. Always a pleasure.
And Scott, good golf insights. That was we should have some fun here as it gets rolling on Thursday. As always, thanks for joining me as my wingman / co-host here on the show. Appreciate it, my friend. Have a great day. All right.
Yep, sounds good. I'm looking forward to covering soccer with you tomorrow.
Yep, we are going to be back tomorrow with our European soccer sniper over there, our football fanatic. It is Valdez Pons going to be joining us all the way from wherever the hell he is.
Mallorca.
I think he's still in Mallorca.
Yep.
Although you never know, this time of year he's traveling all over the continent. So we'll see where we catch up with him tomorrow. So he talks about not only La Liga and the Bundesliga, but EPL starting up as well. So it should be a fun footy show tomorrow. So make sure you guys stop by and join us for that. And as always, don't forget to stop by winnersandwiners.com and our sister site over there at statsalt.com for the red hot takes on everything going on in the world of sports and sports betting. Some of the finest writers you're going to find anywhere. So make sure you stop by and check out our great content at winnersandwiners.com and statsalt.com as well. And, of course, as always, guys, thanks very much for joining us here today. We couldn't do it without you. We appreciate the views. Don't forget to drop us a comment. Let us know what you think, how we're doing, what you got going on, what you got cooked up, what your bets are, et cetera, et cetera. Until tomorrow, I am Scott Steen. He is Scott Reichel. He is also Dave the Dominator Hesse. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Until tomorrow.